before we went to sleep. So when I woke up the next morning, his arm was on the ground, and I was like, "Oh wow!"
And is that when it sunk in?
Like, what happened last night? There's an arm on the ground. Welcome to One Night Stand-Up Comedy. I'm Alfie Roselli.
And I'm Rebecca Rochon. Join us every Tuesday for a new episode where we
get people's stories about dating and sleeping with each other and just doing wild, funny things.
And we hope you learn something.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Today we have Aimee writing us in. She writes, I was on a date with a guy and I asked him if his fingerless glove was cutting off his circulation because his hand was turning purple. Turns out it was a fake hand. That's awesome. Aimee, we love your story. So let's jump into it. So you're on a date with a guy. Where are you at?
So we're at a bar in Dublin called the Odeon. He offered to buy the second round, and that's when I realized that he had a fake hand when I looked down when he went to pay for the drink.
You didn't mention this.
No, and then he held it up because I was like, I think is your glove, are you wearing a glove? Is it cutting off your circulation? I think it's cutting off your circulation because you know how like a hat, like a prosthetic hand kind of has a different coloring to like maybe a normal flesh hand.
Right.
And then he held it up in the air and was like, sorry, I should have probably told you. And then I got really awkward and was like, no, it's not something that you should feel that you had to tell me. And then, it was pretty awkward.
Did you sleep with him?
I did.
Did you sleep with him because of guilt, or did he have a cool story as to why he lost the hand?
He was actually just born like that.
Oh,
but
okay.
So that wasn't, so maybe it was kind of guilt, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, drunkenness and guilt mixed together, you know.
Yeah. Well, where was it? Like, was it just like off at the wrist, or?
It was at his elbow.
At his elbow.
Oh, so it's like kind of a lower arm.
Wow, Aimee, that wasn't subtle at all. He was missing like his arm. It wasn't a hand.
What were you drinking? I want to know what liquor this was. Do you remember?
I
want
was
some of that.
drinking red wine,
Red
rouge wine.
Oh, that makes you super horny. So, see,
you drink the Red Rouge, you get a little adventurous. Sure, no arm, why not? Let's do this.
No arm, whatever.
It is an aphrodisiac, isn't it? I think.
Out of all of the alcohols.
Well, well, fellas at home, not tequila, red wine.
Tequila if you want to dance.
This wasn't a romantic sleeping together situation.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah?
It was a rough and rowdy night? What happened?
He kept pulling at my hair, and I was like, is this something got to do with his arm? I was like, is he trying to prove a point here that he can pull hair? Or like, I don't know.
Trying to prove himself.
He's like a cowboy just trying to wrangle.
No. I'm disturbed by that act out.
Yeah, it was like the first act out I've ever done on the show. So there it is. It's just a guy with one arm having sex.
But, right?
Did he keep the hand on for sex, or is it like that's part of the undressing? Or it's like the underwear comes off and then now the arm.
He took off the arm when we were asleep, like before we went to sleep. So when I woke up the next morning, his arm was on the ground, and I was like, "Oh wow!"
And is that when it sunk in?
Like, what happened last night? There's an arm on the ground.
So during he kept it on.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good-looking guy. It wouldn't have been a deal breaker. Put it that way.
Yeah,
but
it seemed like he compensated.
But then he
for it.
suggested getting a bag of Coke, and I was like, maybe not on the first date. I think what happened to me was that I just got so like wasted because of the awkwardness. I was like, yeah, and I was like, do you want to come back to mine? Sure, why not? You know.
I'm curious about the size of his dick.
Oh, the guy, yeah. How big was the guy's dick with
Was
no
it
arm?
good?
Pretty well endowed, yeah. Like, definitely not small anyway.
Yeah. So he's fine.
Yeah. He may have one arm, but he has 3 legs. Am I right?
Yeah.
We want to know what some of your deal breakers are.
Deal breakers. Someone who's tight.
Like
Cheap?
Cheap?
or
Cheap.
anal?
Yeah, exactly.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Cheap
yeah,
or
cheap.
anal? And what constitutes as cheap? Like, is there an example that comes in your mind where you were just like
Like,
blown away?
Yeah.
I mean, I would never expect a guy to like pay the bill, you know, at the end of a date. But I think it's nice of them to offer to pay it and then obviously split it at the end of the date.
What's the cheapest like a guy's ever been to you where you're like, wow, that was like impressive?
He definitely made me pay for dinner. Not made me pay for dinner, but was like, oh yeah, cool. And like added up how much I owed, like how much, like, you know what I mean?
He did the accounting
you
on
owe
the
this
date.
amount.
Because I would go so far as to say that I would say the first date, I do think maybe I'll get a lot of hate for this, but I would say that I think the guy should pay. And part of it is because just showing up is more expensive for me than them.
That's true. Like it.
Because like I had to buy $40 foundation. That's just one of the paints that I put on my face, right? That's just the first step. That's the skin color one. Yeah. It's not even the powder skin color one. There's like, there's 17 products or more that went into me showing up. Yeah, women. And I know for a fact that doesn't fall on you guys.
I appreciate you going full Bob Ross on your face for the first date. Like
exactly.
it makes all.
I don't know. That's my theory.
That's a good theory. I mean, at least offer to pay, and then you know if they offer to pay, you're like, okay, that's nice, and they're not cheap.
Yeah. The counting up the bill is just that's next level. Oh. It's sort of part of the pursuit, isn't it? It's kind of like you want the guy to show that he is
interested.
Yeah. Oh, and then the other part of that is the tip, not the tip, but the tip that you're giving
Both
the
tips
server.
very important.
Both tips are very important. The tip where you're giving the server, because if you can kind of see that they don't tip at all or they don't tip well, then that's probably a major red flag as well for me.
Yeah, totally. Not that you want someone who's going to be splashing the cash all the time, but like someone who's generous, I think, is always a good trait.
Or like understands that person was working hard to serve you, and
exactly
like, gets that like they have like it shows that they have like humanity.
Yeah.
You always want the girl to know that, like with me, extra guacamole is always on the table.
It's also too far, right? If somebody comes in and they're just like, I have money, right? And they're just like, blah, and their whole personality is that they have money to offer, then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
What are you covering up?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. Let's get a $500 bottle. I'm lonely.
That is true. That's what it comes across as. If a guy does have a lot of money, then you would think he's smart if he didn't tell you for a while, right? Like if he wasn't, right? Then you'd know that they were smart. Whereas if they're throwing it around, you're almost like, do you have any money? Yeah. Or are you just very insecure?
Too true. That's very true.
Do you have any other red flags or any other deal breakers?
Are
there any that are super petty and just specific to you?
Like one time I stopped seeing a girl because she had one inverted nipple. So yeah, like what's the pettiest reason why you broke up with somebody?
Oh, bad breath. Yeah.
Fair.
That's a big one.
Fair.
I went out with a guy. Oh, and a guy who laughed constantly, but I didn't know what he was laughing at.
Oh, like nervous laughter?
Yeah, I think it was nervous laughter, but it was like after everything I said and after everything he said. And
That's amazing. That would be so hard to deal with.
Was it like an evil laugh, like a Burnsy laugh? Like, wow.
Was it like a
It was like a and I was like, what is so funny? Like what? Like I literally could be like, I'm going to the bathroom, and he'd be like okay.
You should have been like, I believe that all ethnicities should be treated differently. True.
Yeah.
Start testing him.
Okay, Aimee, let's end it on. So how did things end with you and the guy with one arm?
Yeah, like how many did you do a second date?
No second date. I think it was kind of like, because usually I wouldn't sleep with someone on the first date, But I think I kind of gave up
because
the
he had one
fact
arm.
that I was like, hey, this isn't going to really go anywhere. So that's why I ended up sleeping with him. And then the next morning, he was kind of awkward about it. Like, did he start like, I feel like he was like hitting the wall or something with his arm in like a nervous way. I can't remember. And I just felt like he was like really awkward about his arm or something.
Which arm?
Pardon?
Attached or detached arm?
The nub or the full one?
The attached arm. He was like hitting the wall with it, and like I was like, "What's he doing?" Like it was weird, but it was pretty. Like he left at about like 10 a.m. or something. We woke up. There was no pillow talk, no chat, just an awkward little. Okay, I think I'm gonna go now, and I was like, "Okay, bye."
When you go to bed with a one-armed man, you're not expecting to wake up to a cuddler.
No.
Oh my god.
All right, well, Aimee, thank you so much for doing this. Like, I really appreciate it. And
no problem.
We plan on eventually doing a Euro trip. So, like, when we go, we'll come by, say what's up to you to London.